Welcome to the Peapod. And just like the peas in a peapod, each human is here to have experiences that will contribute to the growth of all. Here at the Peapod, we will examine some of these experiences and glean the lessons learned, the truth uncovered, and come to a deeper understanding through our sharing. So grab your popcorn, get comfortable, maybe even a paper and pen, and get ready for an amazing time with your hostess, Teri Angel, a woman on a mission to bring change, especially in the arena of peace, into our world. And here she is.
Thank you to our Jim Rashan for that wonderful introduction. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to the Peapod. I know it's a strange name, but I had a vision one day from the angels showing me that we're all like those peas in a pea pod. We are all thinking along the same line and being fed by the same source, the Creator. The Peapod is a safe container. We come here every week and talk about different topics. And today, our topic is our spiritual practices. At some point, it's necessary to begin a spiritual practice because you have to learn to redirect your mind and to open yourself to a deeper experience, to the deeper current of your life. At some point, you need to find out what your deeper nature is really like and the wisdom of knowledge that God has placed within you to guide you, to protect you, and to lead you to a greater fulfillment in the world and a greater service to humanity. Spiritual practice is about bringing your surface mind, your social personal mind, the mind that has been formed and created by your social conditioning, by your family, and by your experiences in the world, to bring this mind into contact with the power and the presence of the knowledge within yourself that is God. Any activity that brings you into contact with spirit, in other words, any activity that engages you with knowledge, is in essence a spiritual practice and a form of spiritual development. And the last quote, never think that spiritual practice is to escape the world, because you will all escape the world sooner or later. Our spiritual practice instead is to help us to connect in with that power within us. And to help us have this discussion today, I have the wonderful Jane Mountrose with me. Jane, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Oh, so good to have you here. And Buddy.
Yes, this is
Sorry,
Buddy.
Buddy, I don't want to leave you out.
Bud.
I'm sure Buddy has spiritual practices that we can.
This is one of them here.
Yeah.
He loves to be with me when we do these things.
Yeah, I can tell he loves the energy.
Mm-hmm. He does.
And I understand that. At one point in my life, I had a cat named Gizmo, who it was the same thing. If I was online, Gizmo was online. And he loved to just feel that energy of whatever I was engaging in with the people.
Right.
So welcome, Buddy. I'm so happy that you're here too. So, Jane, spiritual practices. How interesting is it that we're doing this at a time when it's so needed for us to go inside and take that deep dive, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I think the first spiritual practice I was ever introduced to was meditation. So when we're talking about spiritual practices, it's whatever's going to bring us closer to who we are, our
right.
spirit self, not this human shell of a self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel, I think one of the things that changed my life, it was one of the moments, those moments when everything changed, and this was more than 30 years ago now, was when I learned a process from some spiritual teachers that Philip, my husband, and I were connected with. they called it soul centering, which is connecting with the truth and wisdom in your heart and soul. And of course the love there. And I think where you started actually when you were introducing where we were going today, it is about, this is a way, if you want to call it a meditation, you can make it a meditation of closing your eyes. And I have some little processes I go through myself, connecting with that truth in my heart. This is one that pays off over and over and over, because it does connect you with the truth of who you are, and with the reality, actually, that the way that I view it now, many years later, and having gone through so many things and still being in the same place with this, we're creators because the creator resides in us. And the place where the creator is connected is in our heart center. So it's like there's a little, you could call it a light or flame, a little lighter flame in our heart that becomes brighter and brighter the more we connect with it. So this is something that develops too. It's not like you just do it and and everything's there. It's something that grows with you. And I never tire of it. I think it's just the most amazing thing.
I do too. I just love that connecting in. You know, Jane, we were talking before we went on the air about how not everything is for everybody.
Right.
So, like, I really resonate with meditation. When I first found a meditation group and we were meditating and really going deeper inside, I knew that was for me.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, and I've heard a lot of people say they don't know how to meditate, or they just can't do it. They can't get into the practice of it.
Yeah.
But you know, what was I going? Oh, not everything is for everybody. So we're going to be mentioning a few of the practices, spiritual practices that are out there that are available. So if we talk about meditation, and maybe you've never tried it before, but I always encourage people at least try it once. You know, at least take time to find. If you can't find somebody to guide you in a meditation, at least find that time, even 5 minutes, to just sit with yourself. And I would just like to explain how I do it. And then Jane, I'd like to have your input as well.
Okay.
So I do something called mindful meditation. And this is my practice when I sit by myself, not when I'm leading somebody. But when I'm sitting by myself to meditate, I don't try to shut down. I don't try to shut out anything. I incorporate everything. So if there's a kid crying down the hallway, if there's a train going by blowing its horn, if there's noise from out in the yard or whatever, I don't say, oh, I wish they'd be quiet. I can't meditate like this. I just incorporate all of those sounds, because every sound is important. You know, the sounds that we make here on the planet, they all are divinely here. They're here for a purpose. So I just invite them all in. And the thoughts that are going on as I try to sit and meditate, I allow them to come through, because we can't turn them off. There's no off switch. I just say, okay, thank you. Thank you for that thought. I will get to it later. And right now I'm going back into my heart, and I always pull the breath. I always focus that into my heart, because by doing so, everything else, my whole body, everything just kind of takes a back seat and just relaxes, while the heart is what's focused in with connecting the subconscious to do that. So to me, it's just like second nature to just breathe.
After a while, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's just part of who you are. Right.
So what has been your experience with meditation?
Well, I think, as I mentioned, the process I do, I call soul centering, connecting. And it is really just connecting with the love in our hearts. And I think my first thought when I think about spiritual practices is to understand what we're doing and why we're wanting to do it. And I think the first thing to me is to connect with my center. And this is it. It's right in here. That's our spiritual center. And if we connect with that, and you mentioned breathing, just taking time to just stopping and breathing, taking a few nice, and I always figure to make everything as wonderful as you can, like just take 3 of the most beautiful breaths you can imagine, the most nurturing, breathing in love and light from the universe, from the angels, however you want to do it, just taking those breaths. And it's like you're giving yourself a gift rather than now I have to sit and breathe, because I don't believe in spiritual practices where I have to do this. It's like, this is a gift I'm giving myself. And when we do that, if we start breathing in just the most beautiful, luxurious breaths and into our heart, it calms the mind too.
Yes.
It calms the mind chatter because we just become more present in our bodies. So I do that. And then there's another process that I go through pretty typically, which is understanding that we have very powerful intention, asking any energy that is not my own to leave my space, because it's like we're like a tabletop picks up dust. We pick up energy from other people, other places, other times, and we're carrying it around. And it actually is confusing us because we don't even know which energy is ours. So just ask it to leave. And you can do that right now. Just ask any energy that's not your own to leave your space and send it lovingly back where it came from. But he says, yes, of course. He's kissing me.
But he looks like he meditates.
Well, he likes this. And then the other part is bringing all your own energy back. If you've left it with other people, other times, other places, just ask for it to come back.
Yeah.
Our intention is so powerful, and I can feel it. It's interesting. I just feel it coming in, and then doing those 3 things: breathing, asking energy to leave and energy to come back. I just feel so much more present and grounded in my body in the moment. And from there, connecting into the truth in your heart, that's where you go. That's your most powerful resource.
Yes.
So then you can ask yourself, well, who am I really? Because so often we beat ourselves up, like, oh, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, or other people are beating us up by complaining about us or whatever. Who am I really?
Yeah.
And in the heart, you'll hear a completely different story.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, from there, there's so many places you can go.
I love that, Jane. And you made such a good point. There's no right or wrong way.
Right.
You can't get it wrong.
Nobody.
If you have the intention that you're going to meditate, whatever you do, whether you're walking, singing, in the shower, you can't get it wrong because it all comes from the intention of what you want to get from it.
Right. And some people feel they move energy by moving, by walking. Walking is a meditation. Walking in nature is definitely can be very meditative. I think people who aren't meditators appreciate being in nature because it connects them with that sense of oneness with everything, which is love to me. I view love energetically and at the highest level as love is connectedness. It is a space where there is no separation or division.
Absolutely. I love that. So for all of you that are tuned in right now and watching us, hello, everyone. Do you meditate? So let's have your answer yes or no if you meditate, because that's one spiritual practice. To me, that's the basic spiritual practice. Is doing that connecting in. But I think it's probably the most important one that we do. And making it a daily practice in your life will really get you into knowing who you are, like Jane was saying, who am I really? And so if you go in with that intention of knowing the real you, that you before the world told you who you were, you'll find it. You'll find that connection. And I see some yeses coming in. You. So that was one spiritual practice that we definitely wanted to talk about today. There's so many. And as I said earlier, not everybody resonates with everyone, but also not everybody's aware of what's out there. So let's talk about some of the things, some other spiritual practices that people do out in the world. Jane, I know you have a few things that you're proficient in and that you work with people on. So which one do you want to pull out first?
Well, there are a lot. I do want to say one more thing about that meditating, which I would focus it in my mind on centering, just coming into yourself. That I think that it's important to do it early as possible in the day. Like, you don't have to do it before you have a cup of tea or whatever. I have tea, and there are other things I do before it, but I start my day there because it's so easy for the day just to get away from us. And if we're not present in our bodies, we're not here. And if we're in a momentum, we're always in the future running towards something rather than just being able to be in our bodies, which actually makes me think of another thing that I find really valuable is having an intention for how I want my life to work. So you could, I sometimes call it ground rules. And my main ground rule is that I'm in the flow with joy and ease.
Yeah.
And I just say that to myself through the day, like, now I'm in the flow with joy and ease. And that intention, because our intention is powerful and because what we focus on is powerful, helps us to create that kind of that stream through the day. So I think I have things like that. And I remember we actually did a thing together just a week ago for the circle, another thing that I do on Enlightened World Network. And you had a couple of those things of what you tell yourself. And I remember there was one, stop.
Yes.
And what I forget what that was. I wrote it down.
Spirit, take over, please.
Right.
So, yeah. So anytime you find yourself, just being caught up in the spin, we're humans. We're going to live our life and have things happen. But if it starts to get to that overwhelm, just stop. Just say, hey, Spirit, take over right now, because I just need to step back and observe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, those simple things, they make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love that. And I think another thing, and if you think in terms of ground rules, is how does reality work? So it is, I think one thing that's really important is we have an option, because there are different realities going on in our world at the same time. Like, there's the victim reality,
right?
Like, what, everybody else is to blame for what's happening to me other than me.
Can't be my fault.
And then there's the creator reality, which is actually the truth. The creator is in us. We are creators. From that perspective, life is happening for me rather than life is happening to me. And just with that in mind, recognize that also there's a synchronous flow in the day, that everything that happens has some meaning to it. And to start to just focus on that and notice the wonderful things, notice the blessings, notice the things you don't like, and just, rather than getting engulfed in them, just keep your vibration up and say, well, gee, I prefer something else. And you're just telling yourself, you're interacting with the energy of reality in a positive way, just to stay in that kind of a flow.
Yeah. I'd never thought of it as a ground rule, but every day after I do gratitude, because every time I open my eyes, I'm like, oh, thank you, God, I'm still on the planet. I'm still kicking. And I say, okay, only love and light is welcome in here today.
Wow, that one
my energy,
I'm going to write that one down.
That's all I'm taking in today is love and light. And so it's just invoking that energy of protection. And I work very closely with Archangel Michael. And so when I say that, when I say only love and light is welcome in here, then I feel Michael place that shield of protection around me. And it's like a bubble. So There's going to be things that will try that. There'll be things that will come up that I could get very irritated and agitated about. But then I have to remember, okay, I made a commitment today. I made a promise to myself, only love and light. And whatever happens, it's like, all right, let me pause, let me stop and see what's going on, observe, but then go back into my peace, which is the love and light inside.
Yeah, and that's always the goal, is to be in that place. And to even I sometimes we teach actually about manifestation and things, and we have a coaching program, and we're actually doing, I'm going to be teaching it today, so all this is right on my mind. We do so much of it unconsciously. Like people say, well, things never work out for me. It's kind of like, this is a fact.
Yeah.
Rather than I'm in the flow with joy and ease, I'm welcoming love and light into my life. And we haven't specifically, well, you mentioned Archangel Michael. I think I connect with angels and enlightened masters. I think we may underestimate the resources that are always around us. They're here right now,
always,
and we can call on them. So I think that's something that is a worthwhile learning, to learn about the archangels and the masters, and connect with them, find out which ones you resonate with. You were mentioning how we're all different. We're all so unique. It's not like there's any one or group that's right for us. In fact, I think we have a family of light, each of us. So there are some that are more present for us, that just because of we resonate with them, we may have history with them beyond this life too. I think actually, well, for me, and one of them is Archangel Raziel. He's the one who comes in rainbow colors. I found this is kind of just a silly little scarf, but I just love it. It's rainbow colors and it's hearts. So I wear it a lot.
Yeah.
And it's Archangel Raziel. He's just great. And if you want joy, he's very joyful.
Oh, he's so funny. He helps us to lighten up.
Right.
Find something to laugh at or giggle or smile.
And he's also very deep. It's not like he's just this lighthearted, fluffy thing. He is very, he's also considered often to be the spiritual guru of the archangels too. Yes. So
I love him a lot. Yeah, and he does make us smile. We have one of our peas in the Peapod. Pada's smile is spirit magnifies incredible loving energy. That's what smile stands for.
Oh, I'm going to write that one down.
Giving a smile.
Everybody. I remember you mentioned having a pad and paper, or a pen and pad.
So when we're smiling, that's what we're doing. We're magnifying that energy from spirit and saying to somebody, I just love you. I accept you. I welcome you. And putting that smile on just opens up a whole world where, it'll open up a conversation. Just try it. If there's a stranger, and smile at them, start a whole conversation. You might meet your new best friend.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That needs your light that you have to give into the world.
Yeah. Yeah. When you think of every day as an opportunity for more love and light, which I like, I think that that's what is most important for the world right now, is for us, those of us who are conscious enough to do so, to embody that love and light to the greatest degree, to the degree we can. And you said, like you said, it's never about judging yourself.
Right.
Because when you perceive yourself as being limited, that's the illusion. And actually we're much more magnificent than we know. And what we're wanting to do is bring more of that magnificence in here, into our bodies, so that we can radiate it out to the world. So I think for people who feel they don't matter, Also, the heart will tell you you do.
Mhm.
And doing anything to connect with the heart in the morning is helpful. But we all matter. And
Yes.
everything we do matters. And that's not a judgment either. Like you have to watch, well, gee, I spent an hour, reading a comic book or something. It's
Yeah.
not about that. It's about what we're vibrating
Mhm.
and what we're offering through our being to the world. All of us can do that.
Yeah, it's a choice we make.
Right.
That we
Right.
choose every day when we wake up. Am I going to be a beacon of light? Am I going to put that smile on my face and welcome to stay? Or am I going to pull the covers back up and say, not today?
Right.
And
Yeah.
some days we might feel that. We might feel, I'm just not in it today. I'm just not here fully to give anything.
Mm-hmm.
Then you breathe in to the heart, and you take a moment, just take a mindful moment for yourself, and it pulls you right back up.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Right.
thing.
And you can ask, well, what is it I need? Because
Yeah,
maybe you just need to nurture yourself today and
yeah,
not be concerned about changing the world.
yeah. The self-care is so important, and that's a
Right.
spiritual practice. Is
Yeah.
self-care.
Yeah. And I think also doing it in a way that is, well, that's moderate and again resonates with you. Because it made me think, and this is maybe a little sidetrack, but self-care includes things like diet. And then a lot of times we get into rule making again, like you have to do this or you have to do that. And I don't have any rules. I want to have energy and I want to feel good. So I want to eat things that make me feel good.
Right.
But I allow myself to decide what that is without any reservation. I don't have to say, well, gee, I did this and that was bad. Just,
Right. Yeah.
nurturing ourselves. There's so much to self-care, just allowing yourself, if you just feel like sitting around and doing nothing, if you can, I know a lot of people don't have that luxury. Maybe that's what you need today. I think we don't take enough time just to rest. I guess that's another part of it. Just allowing ourselves to rest and be with ourselves.
Absolutely. And if your body is telling you need sleep,
Right.
sleep.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
Give yourself that break
Mm-hmm.
and really listen to your body.
Mm-hmm.
I found
Yeah.
out so many years ago the importance of listening to your body.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
going to tell you what you need. Yeah. Sometimes we have cravings for certain things. And so what's the body telling you? It's telling you there's something missing that you're not getting or you're not giving, whether that's sleep or it's something in your nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
It will always let you know.
Mm-hmm.
Say, I
Yeah,
feel
and make everything nurturing and nourishing for you. Whatever you're eating, whatever you're breathing,
yeah,
drinking.
right.
Bud.
Okay, so self-care, audience. How many of you practice self-care? And it could be as simple as, like I said, taking a short nap. It could be going for a walk.
Yeah.
Making sure you're drinking enough water every day, because we have to have water. That's one of the have-tos of life.
Right.
So
Yeah.
self-care. Let's see how many people can say your yes, that you do self-care. Because I know I've been more conscious of that over the last few years, but especially over the last year. I've been more conscious about the nutrition that I put in my body, what I don't put in my body, cutting out things that really are detrimental, especially processed foods and, a lot of sugary foods. Oh, somebody's working on their self-care. Thank you. Yeah, we're a work in progress.
Right. Exactly.
Perfection.
And I think for many women are emotional and we tend to use food to soothe ourselves. I think that's something worth looking at and finding what it is that we're really wanting.
Mhm.
it used to be for me that food was my answer to everything. If I was tired, food. If I was stressed, food. Whatever it was. If I was thirsty, it might be food. It didn't necessarily make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Now I focus on what really makes me feel most energized,
Mhm.
because I think we're here to be fully alive too. It's life energy, prana, to have lots of energy. And if we ask ourselves, you were saying, ask your body,
Mhm.
what's right for my body. It's not a judgment. If sugar, or if excess sweets is a challenge for you, it's not a judgment. It's a choice. What is it that this desire is actually actually wanting? It might want to rest. It might want to meet new people. It might be bored. It might be lonely, and look to those things, the solutions for those things.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for that thought. Okay.
Well, we misinterpret things a lot of times,
Mhm.
and we misuse our energy because we're not actually asking enough of a question about what it is that we're wanting, what that little voice in us is asking for.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. There's a meditation that I do sometimes, and I go through every part of the body, starting at the top of the head. What do you want from me, or what do you need from me?
Mm-hmm.
How can I make you feel better today? And going through every part of your body, your ears, your nose, your mouth, your throat, everything. What can I do for you today? How can I make you feel good today? And
Mm-hmm.
it's such a powerful meditation because it's total self-care. You're just listening to your body. You're asking the
Yeah.
question,
Right.
that
Yeah.
response.
Yeah. Yeah. Why are you hurting today? Because
Yeah.
when we
Oh, that's
have
a big
things
one.
happening, then you can ask, like there's a little person in there and they'll talk to you, like, why do I
Yeah.
have this pain? Why do I have a pain in my neck today? It's interesting. It's interesting because
Yeah.
we work a lot with people, and they'll tell us, well, I have this horrible pain in my neck. And
Mhm.
and then you can ask the question, well, is there someone who's a pain in your neck?
Right.
And it's like, oh, well, actually.
Yeah. Or if your knee is hurting, are you not being flexible enough?
Right.
Is there something more going on in there? Are you not getting enough of the calcium that your body needs for your bones? There's
Hmm.
just so much. And if you ask, your body will talk to you. It will.
Right.
It's just like
Mhm.
people say, I wish I could talk to my animal. Well, you can. They tell us stuff, they communicate with us constantly. It's just tuning in. So tuning into your body, tuning into your pets, whatever,
Right.
your spouse, your family. It's a matter of just really listening and paying attention, isn't it, Jane?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And then I think we're looking kind of beyond the basic physical reality too. It's like everything has meaning.
Mhm.
Our approach is very holistic. Everything's connected, everything has meaning, and none of it is a judgment of us. We
Right.
judge ourselves so much.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Have a little cold. We judge ourselves unnecessarily because it's not about being bad or wrong. It's
Right.
about embracing what the message is in things too.
Mhm. Right.
And then it's like magic.
Mhm.
Life is magical.
Yes, when we lose all of that low vibration, judgment, criticism, insecurity, then we really do get to go deeper and find out who we truly are. And that's why these spiritual practices are so important, because they
Hmm.
help us do that. We have our Jean Lorio on with us in the
Oh.
audience, Auntie Jean, and she's reminding me that we chant every night. We have been chanting as a group every night for over 1,000 nights now.
Wow.
1,000 nights of
That's a lot.
chanting. And chanting, to me, it's meditative. It's a way of shutting out anything other than what I'm focused on, and being very focused on the intention of the chant. In our case, that what we do is to bring more peace into the world. We're chanting for love and harmony to be what exists. So that's another spiritual practice that we can do. And many people don't resonate with that, and that's okay. I mean, whatever you resonate with, go with that. But
right, exactly. What's exciting?
Yeah,
what makes you feel enlivened? Because
yeah.
you want to bring energy to whatever it is you're doing. It shouldn't making it dogmatic and saying, well, I need to do this, I have to do this spiritual practice. That's not it. It's the most amazing, joyful, miraculous possible thing, at least for me.
Yes.
That's my intention, and that's the way I approach it.
Yes. Yeah, and that's really the key, and that's really what we wanted to get across to everyone.
No.
It is that you resonate with. It doesn't have to be meditation, it doesn't have to be chanting, but what is it that you resonate with? We have another one of our P's, Joanne. She's home early so she can make it to yoga, which is self-care and bringing more balance. That's the goal of yoga, is to bring more balance to your life. And I've played with yoga over the years, but I've never been a big participant in it. But I know that it helps. I know it's awesome for people that are really passionate about it and get into it. But it is one of the options of a practice, a spiritual practice.
Right. Yeah. Another thing that I do regularly, when I do my spiritual practice in the morning, I connect, and I'm trying to think how to say this, because there's a lot of different elements. But one of the things I do is now I dictate everything that's occurring in my morning meditation, because I travel and do things. It's fairly active. So I record it in Microsoft Word. I can actually look at it. There's a dictate feature, and I dictate everything. And one of the things that I really like to do is use oracles. I have oracle cards right here, of several different ones. And if nothing else, you can ask a question like, what would be most beneficial for me for insights today? And then just draw a card or cards. It's also a wonderful way to learn about, like, the archangels. There's this archangel oracle cards, where you can draw a card and it will connect you with an archangel, and you can just ask. And I think, just to make it simple, just ask with pure intent. You want to bring purity to it and a desire for truth. Just ask to be connected with an angel. And I'm doing that. I do something around that, in that area, pretty much every day. And then it might stay with me. The same one might stay with me for a period of time, because I start receiving insights. I communicate with all of these different beings who are around me. And there also are themes that occur. I often draw one card for a being, like if I'm looking for a master or an angel to connect with, and then another card, it's called a significator, which would be a card that provides more insights on it. And I draw that from usually another deck. Like this is actually, here's one that I really like. And this is just one I like. It's called Work Your Light. It's a really wonderful, there are a lot of really wonderful oracle decks. I don't know if you use oracles at all, Teri, but they are just wonderful communication tools. And that it's like you're opening to, I might call it managed synchronicity. Like
Mhm.
I want to have a synchronous kind of a connection with the divine today. And I'm going to do it with these oracles.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I do use oracle cards.
Come on.
And anything can be a tool. Anything.
Right.
Use
Yeah.
a pendulum to be a tool to just ask for guidance. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever you resonate with,
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
that, and Julie says she loves her cards and doing readings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Find out that guidance for yourself every day. It
Mm-hmm.
isn't to tune in.
Yeah. It's just incredible to me too how insightful they are,
Mhm.
and how I think it helps to start with one that actually has a good vibration to it. Some
Yes.
would say you can you can use a dictionary for an oracle, which you can, and
Mhm.
just scan a page and find a word that resonates with you. Some connecting, depending on the source that you're connecting with in the oracle, can provide a lot of insights because of the source of it.
Right. Yeah.
Right, bud? Yeah.
So what other spiritual practices do you ascribe to, Jane?
Well, actually, we were talking before we started. I do a lot of guided visualization type things.
Me
Oh, and
too.
another one, actually, this is another one. I'll mention this because this is something that I've used as an oracle for many years, the inner child cards. This
Mhm.
is a tarot deck, and all of the major arcana cards and the other cards too are inner child references. And one that has stayed with me over the years is Jack and the Beanstalk. And just imagine planting that magic seed, and the beanstalk grows up through the clouds. And then I go up through the clouds, which to me is through the atmosphere outside of the mass consciousness energy
Right.
and I go, we were talking about going to outer space, and just allowing myself to float around or fly around in outer space. And just, I think for all of us, having an awareness of how we are when we're here in a community, in a city or whatever, we're being bombarded by the energy of the mass consciousness. And we can do those kinds of meditations or just traveling up a channel of light up through the atmosphere and out into the universe where you're completely free. I do that a lot. That has been, and it also has been coming through different oracle cards especially over the last few months. And I feel there's a reason for it, that I think we're being guided to release ourselves from all of that stuff. We can know about it. The important thing is just not plugging into it.
Right. Right. So I do visualization a lot as well. And over the years, as I work with people and teach meditation and visualization, especially, I get a lot of people that say, I can't visualize. Do you have any suggestions, anything that you can offer for help for people that say something like that? I have a hard time visualizing, or I just can't do it.
Yeah, it is. Like everything, we're very unique. And if you look at, excuse me, our inner senses. So I'm getting, let me
Okay, take
try
a
a little
moment.
water. Yeah, I just have this
Drink some water.
throat.
Yeah.
So we have inner sight, inner hearing, inner feeling, even smell and taste. And it's interesting. One of them for each of us is probably a primary one that we go to. So someone who, for instance, is more kinesthetic, in other words, is more oriented toward feeling, may feel that they're not able to see. And it may be also what our expectation is of being able to see, like as if we're supposed to be able to see, like we're looking at a big screen television or something. And I don't see in that way. It may be even more of a knowing. And it can be, if you think you can't see anything, like if you imagine going out into outer space and just kind of floating around or flying with the angels. We were talking about flying around in outer space with cherubs. I mean, it sounds pretty far out, but it's fun. Why not have fun? If you could see what it was that was happening, what would it be? It's kind of like looking at a child's alphabet book, and each page has a letter, and it has also an item on it that starts with that letter, and you kind of go through it, and so you get to the letter C, and then there's a picture there. What is the picture of? And right now, so my mind says it's a cat. What color is it?
I got that too.
It's a white cat.
Yeah.
If you start just relating to visualizing in a different way, there's a knowing to it also.
Yes.
So you can just ask myself, well, if I could see what it was like being in outer space, what would I be seeing? Well, I'd be seeing myself surrounded by these beautiful angels, and we're just flying magically around together. I can say that's the way it's happening. I mean, is there a fire there? No fire.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And what I always say is, what an apple looks like, what it feels like when you hold it in your hand, what it tastes.
Right.
So start there, and it's a matter of practicing, isn't
right.
it?
Yes, I think it
Practice
is.
seeing that with your eyes closed and seeing that apple, that beautiful red color or yellow. And
what color is it? Kind of like if you're holding in your hand grapes, some grapes, what color are they?
Yeah.
What is in your mind? What is coming to you? And just because you're allowing a flow, you're allowing intuitive kind of flow with it. And again, there's no right or wrong. It's just
no. And that's the beauty of it. And that's when we're able to really relax and do it, is when we're told there's no right or wrong. Just, whatever comes up for you is the way it's supposed to be.
And if you feel a lot, just allow yourself to feel a lot, and then just also ask a few other questions. Like if you're out there in outer space, what does it sound like?
Yeah.
And in your mind, I mean, to me, I don't hear crows cawing or something. I hear it's just that it's almost just like this beautiful kind of peaceful sound. So you can imagine in your mind what it is, and just allow that to be, be creative. We're creators. Allow that creativity to emerge. Is there a breeze in outer space? Maybe there is, maybe not. You can just ask yourself and get what you get.
And not being right or wrong, but just the experience that it is for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And that, I think, visualizing to me is just very powerful. It is. I think it is. I think it is truly powerful, because the visions that we have, what we see in our mind's eye, they are holograms. We can just ask ourselves, for instance, the way I feel now, if it was a landscape, what would it look like? And for me, I just see a beautiful tropical landscape, just this experience that we're having together. And there are tropical birds. They're chirping in the jungle. And it's beautiful. And the light is flowing through the trees, and I can feel it just gently touching me from the sun. It's just we're in a beautiful place right now. I hope that everybody who's with us is, because this is a beautiful place.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that. Did you all experience what Jane was describing, or were you visualizing and being somewhere else, like maybe
it would,
or an ocean? What were you experiencing during that mindful moment?
Right. Yeah. What image represents the way you're feeling in this moment?
Yeah, I love that. I just felt so much peace as you were going there, It's like, oh yeah, I feel the sun on my face.
Mhm.
I went out earlier and I was blessed to have the sun shining outside. There's many places right now that are in the midst of snowstorms and
Yeah, we've had crazy weather in California.
yeah, really
This is
crazy.
our other little girl, this is our
Oh,
female. She's she's not quite so meditative, but she's very loving. She comes home.
she wants to give you love, Mama.
Yeah, she'll just continue doing that,
Yeah,
won't you? Her name's Foxy. So you go down, sweetie.
beautiful. We love our fur babies.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have things around you that bring you joy.
Yes.
You know, that's another thing. I
Mhm.
I keep things, and this is my office. Like this is a selenite heart. Selenite is a really wonderful stone. I highly recommend having it. It is very unusual. It's a very high vibration stone, and it clears everything in its path, you could say, everything around it. So if you hold it, it will lift your vibration and help to clear out any of that energy that you want to clear out that's not your own.
Yeah, and
I love that.
I know that it's a stone that you don't have to recharge. Like a lot of times we put our stones out in the moon, and if the moon energy recharges them, selenite's always charged. It's
Right,
always
and it
on.
will charge
Hard to
your other
plug.
stones.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I have a wand too here.
I have a heart as well, Jane. Oh yeah, I love my selenite wands. I have a tiger's eye heart.
Yeah.
Someone just gifted me this, and I love tiger's eye because it's the high connecting stone. So as you hold the tiger's eye, you just really are able to go deeper in when you're doing meditation.
Yeah, so have little things around you that make you feel good. I have
Exactly.
This is another thing that I found in a store a while back. I love this.
Oh, trust the journey. I absolutely trust my journey. It's all about trust.
And I think we are being asked to trust now a lot. I think we're being asked to really raise our to raise our the word that was coming as game, but just to raise our approach to life.
Right. Yeah. Wow. So wrapping this up today, I'm really hoping that something that we have said has touched you. Maybe you have thought about doing yoga, or maybe you thought about doing a mindful meditation, or checking in with Jane to finding out more what she has to offer with the soulful connection. So, Jane, I'd like to take a minute and just ask you to share with people how they can work with you if they chose, or how they can reach out to ask you questions or get more information from you.
Well, years ago, my husband and I started an institute. We call it Awakenings Institute, which is a nonprofit organization that's devoted to creating a more loving world. And we teach programs. Primarily, we have our biggest program. It's a coaching and healing certification program. So we have many different things, and we have books, and because we've been doing this for many years, lots of things. And our website is gettingthrough.org, which is gettingthru.org / there are different parts of it. You can go to / holistic, there's and / spiritual. They're different little sub websites. It's a very large website, and there are a lot of free things. We do have a resource kit for life workers and spiritual healers and way showers, those kind of people like us. And I have a tiny URL for it just because the URLs on our website are very long. So it's tinyurl.com / spiritual kit. And that's something for free. There are other free things and many, many blogs and articles and things. And I'm on Facebook. Well, we have the Circle, an Enlightened World Network every Sunday, the Circle of Love and Light. It's at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and which is 12 noon Eastern time. We have a topic each week. We talk about, Teri was just there recently, and we had a wonderful time. And it is all about just lightening things up. And we have a meditation and a talk on something. And then we just allow that love and light that we've collected to flow out into the world together and send it out into the week ahead. So it's on Sunday as a nice way to prepare for the week ahead, to have a wonderful week for
It
ourselves. So yeah, and I love doing the circle.
Yeah,
So
I always like to set intentions on Sunday to go into the week. So
right.
whatever I want to call to me, and we didn't even talk about manifesting, but we talked about visualizing and holding that energy in our mind, and that is one of the ways we manifest. But if you have an intention that you're specifically focused on, and on Sundays, you have that firmed up of what you want to see happen throughout the week. Then you can visualize, you can meditate, you can do all of these things that we talked about today to bring that forward. So,
and more. I mean, there are more. We talked about tapping, and there are different little clearing techniques you can do. There's so many things that we can do to nurture ourselves and make it fun, make it joyful.
Absolutely. And Auntie Jean says, thank you, ladies. Actually, you helped me to see that I do many more simple practices than I had realized. And Jean works a lot with crystals. She has a crystal grid that uses and activates and places prayers into, and asks for the energy to go out in the prayers to everyone that needs those prayers. So, and prayer is a spiritual practice.
Right. There are so many. It's a huge topic.
The iceberg.
Right.
We'll have to do this again.
Maybe it was a lot of fun.
That rascal John Thaddeus Fiore into joining us.
Right. Well, I enjoyed it the way it was. So thank you for inviting me, Teri.
Perfect. It was just perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here with me, Jane, and to all of you that came in for the discussion. Thank you for your interactions and answering questions and making comments. I appreciate every one of you so much. Every week I'm on with a different person or persons, and
right.
different topic every week. So come back to the Peapod next Tuesday and let's see what we're going to get into. And you never know. But thank you again, everyone, for being here. Stay in your hearts, stay blessed, and we will see you later. Thank you, Jane, for being here. So much love to you.
Oh, thank you. You too, Teri. Thank you.
Namaste, y'all. Bye, everyone.